friends, welcome to this session on Isbp. We shall be looking into certificate of origin today, and this session discusses para L1 to para L8 of Isbp 745. What are the basic requirements, or what would be considered as fulfilling the function for a certificate of origin? If the credit requires presentation of a certificate of origin, it will be satisfied by presentation of a signed document which appears to relate to the invoiced goods and certifies their origin. If a signed document is submitted, if it appears to relate to the invoiced goods, the goods for which the drawing is being made under this credit right now, and if it certifies their origin, then this document will satisfy the requirement when credit calls for certificate of origin. If the credit requires a specific form like a GSP form A or something like that, then only a document in that specific form is to be presented. If the credit does not specify a format, then it should appear to relate to invoiced goods, it should certify their origin. That should be adequate. If it specifies a form, then GSP form A, form 10, all those things will be required. This is when a credit calls for a certificate of origin. Who should be the issuer of the document? If the credit does not indicate an issuer, any entity may issue the origin certificate. If the credit does not indicate the issuer, any entity may issue. If the credit specifies an entity, then it should be issued by the specific entity. If the credit requires that it be issued by the beneficiary, if the credit says certificate of origin has to be issued by the beneficiary or the exporter or manufacturer, who ultimately is the person who makes the goods for shipment, then it will be satisfied by presentation of a certificate of origin issued by Chamber of Commerce, etc. If the credit requires certificate to be issued by beneficiary on the origin, a certificate of origin issued by Chamber of Commerce is acceptable, provided it indicates beneficiary as the exporter or manufacturer. A certificate of origin issued by the beneficiary is called for by the credit. A certificate of origin issued by Chamber of Commerce is submitted under the presentation, drawing under the credit. It is acceptable, provided it indicates beneficiary as the exporter or the manufacturer. What are the entities that can issue such a certificate? It can be Chamber of Commerce, it can be Chamber of Industry, Association of Industry, Chamber, Customs Authorities, Department of Trade, and the like. Why this much detail is given in today's Isbp? In earlier Isbp 681 and the previous one, we did not have this clarification. And so at times there were situations when CCIPT of China issues a certificate, certain banks were not willing to accept that, saying they are not Chamber of Commerce. So now ICC had taken upon itself to clarify through ISBP that Chamber of Commerce could be Chamber of Industry, Association of Industry, Economic Chamber, Customs, all those entities who are issuing certificate of origin normally in their respective countries. If the credit requires certificate issued by the Chamber, then it can be issued by Chamber of Industry, Association of Industry, Chamber of Commerce, Customs Authority, Department of Trade, or anybody else. But it cannot be issued by beneficiary. But if the beneficiary is to be the issuer as per the credit, then it can be issued by any party identifying the beneficiary or the exporter. Now let us have a look at the content of the certificate of origin. The certificate of origin should appear to relate to the invoice goods. It should appear to relate to the invoice goods. It doesn't say it should relate to invoice goods. It should appear to relate to the invoice goods, which means the goods description may not be exactly as per the credit or need not exactly be as per the invoice, but it should be not in conflict with the credit. It should correspond. No requirement for mirror image, it should correspond. The bits and pieces put together should give the same meaning. It can refer to goods description appearing on another document. It can say this is the certificate of origin of the goods covered by invoice number 123 or BL number ABC or whatever. It can relate to the goods description by referring to another stipulated document. The consignee information on the certificate of origin need not conflict with the consignee information of the transport. If the goods are shipped to party ABC and notified party is XYZ, then this consignee information in the certificate of origin should not conflict with the transport document. If the transport document is issued to order or to order of, which means it is negotiable and the party may keep on changing, in such a situation, the certificate of origin may show consignee as any entity named in the credit except beneficiary. Beneficiary should be the consignor, not the consignee. So any information, any party related to the credit can be the consignee in the certificate of origin if the transport document is issued to order. If it is not such a case, then the information should not be in conflict with transport document. The first beneficiary may be stated to be the consignee. This is almost same like in any other certificate or bin certificate that we have seen earlier. The certificate of origin may indicate as consignor the exporter an entity other than beneficiary of the credit or shipper in the stipulated document. The consignee can be any party, should be any party other than beneficiary, should be same as in transport document, or if it is to order, should be any other entity mentioned in the credit. It could be first beneficiary. This is consignee. The consignor can be a party other than exporter. It can be a party other than beneficiary of credit. It can be a party other than shipper as per other stipulated documents. Because the certificate would have been issued with a different consignor in mind, not the beneficiary of specific LC. If the credit indicates the origin of the goods without stipulating in the document, if there is a condition in the credit but there is no stipulated document for evidencing compliance with that condition, then the origin stipulated on the document should not conflict with the stated origin. This certificate of origin will say goods are of Japanese origin, and if the LC says goods are of German origin without asking and calling for a certificate, then this certificate of origin should, the Japanese origin is conflicting with the German origin mentioned in the credit, and so there is a discrepancy. So if a credit calls for an origin, indicates an origin but does not call for certificate, if the credit indicates an origin but does not call for a stipulated document, a specific document, then the origin in this certificate mentioned should not conflict with the origin stated in the credit. The certificate of origin may indicate invoice number, invoice date or shipment or routing different from other documents. The invoice number, invoice date or routing mentioned in the certificate of origin can be different from what is mentioned in other documents, provided the exporter or consignor is not the beneficiary of the credit. So these are the some small aspects of certificate of origin discussed by Isbp. Thanks for watching this video, and we shall meet again on another.